We'll start, though, by going to Wembley. Brentford taking on Fulham in the Championship final. This one went to extra time. Fulham, in the end, winning by 2-1. Leeds United, Jack Harrison with us, as is Don Hutchison. Don, let's start with you. This was a tough watch for the opening 90 minutes, and then everything happened really in extra time. That never happens.
It never happens. It was a bit of a grind, to be honest, watching the game. It was almost like two teams didn't want to lose the game, so they were rigid in their formation. They weren't taking any chances. Then it got close to an hour mark and still nothing happening, and it went to extra time where the dynamics of the game changes. Everyone gets a little bit looser, get a bit more freedom, a bit more, I don't know, a bit more energy from somewhere, and then all of a sudden, I mean, Bryans scored an unbelievable free kick, bad goalkeeping decision, thinking he was going to whip the cross in, and then from there, Fulham looked in control, and the second goal was the best move of the match, actually, when Mitrovic just laid a little 1-2, and then the inside finish. So, in the end, I think just Fulham were the better side, because, as I said, they were the team on the front foot trying to get the winner, where I was disappointed in Brentford.
Don, maybe a little complimentary there to the fact it was a good, great, exceptional free kick, Jack, when really you expect your goalkeeper to stop that.
Yeah, I think he'll be maybe a little bit disappointed with that. Obviously, it's a great individual thinking from Bryan as well to be able to do that in moments like this on such a big stage as well, where it means so much. And you know, to do that is incredible on the spot thinking. But I think the goalkeeper might be looking back at that and maybe regretting a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's a great move from Bryan, and he's won them the game from that.
What a time, though, Don, to drop a catastrophic moment from Raya.
Well, it was. I mean, I'd love to see it back again, because we were watching it live, unfolded in front of our eyes. We've not really seen a replay, but I would give the fullback the credit for taking it on, because we were sat really close by him. We were looking at the defenders defending on the 18-yard line, and we all thought, watching it, they was going to whip it in. And he had the goalkeeper thinking exactly the same thing. So I'd like to see where the goalkeeper's position was. It couldn't have been absolutely right, because you shouldn't be scoring from there. But still, the execution to take that on, in a final, when the easy option would have been just clip it in the box, take your chances and see what happens. But he was brave enough to take the shot on. And as I said, the execution was first class.
Joe Bryan, 1 goal all season, Jack. Then he gets a brace of the Championship final.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously he's come out when it means the most, and that's what you expect from your players on this stage. You want your players to step up and make the most of those opportunities, and he's done exactly that today.
Jack, we kind of saw, as we mentioned, like that opening 90 minutes, if you like, was so nervy. Can you kind of empathise with the players because of what was on the line today? It was all about not making a mistake.
A little bit. Well, yeah, I think it's hard to find that balance in these games. You don't want to be too excessive and maybe cause yourself problems that could lead to consequences. But I think both teams did really well breaking the press from each side. Both teams were pressing really high. Both teams did really well to break each other's press. But then after that, it wasn't really like anything happened. They didn't capitalise on that going forward and just ended up circling back around. So. That's where that fine line is, to try and find the balance, which is hard for players, on this stage. But I think, as Don said, as we went into the extra time, team started to kind of push for the goals a little bit, maybe looking forward a bit more and causing a few problems, and that's when the game started to open up. And as spectators, that's that's the football that you want to see. So yeah, maybe a little bit disappointing for the 90 minutes, but in the end, it's a great result for Fulham, and I'm sure they'll be over the moon to be going back to the Premier League next year.
Obviously disappointing to lose a final. That's stating the obvious, Don. But it's disappointment on top of disappointment for Brentford, after they could have clinched it, of course, on the final day of the season as well. After that incredible run when football returned, they've hit 2 buffers at very key times.
That's probably just inexperience, and that's what I think you saw even tonight from Thomas Frank's side, where they should have been, before the game, everyone was saying, I was seen a few colleagues of mine and they were saying, how do you see the game going? And I was leaning towards Fulham, but a tight 1-0. And I asked them, and they went, if Brentford get the ball down and play, they win the game. And if they start well and they start getting their confidence going and moving the ball as good as they can, they'll win the game. And I didn't see that from Brentford tonight. I didn't see it in the last 2 games where they struggled. So they must be a little bit nervy, expected. Listen, I've been in 3 finals in the playoffs and all all 3 have finished 1-0. So they are tight. I've lost 2 and won 1. So it's very rarely do you see an absolute classic. You get them every now and again. You see a 4-3 and you see games that go to penalties with loads of goals. But the majority of the times you see really nervous games. I thought Brentford looked really nervy.
Don, Fulham probably automatically now favourites to go back down. Fair?
I think so, because I think if you take yourself back to a couple of years when Fulham come up, they spent £100 million, but the recruitment was so shoddy. It was just names, and it was just, it looked good on paper when they spent over £100 million. Now the recruitment's got to be a lot better, because the performances this season have been okay, but that wasn't a Premier League performance. Now, listen, it comes with a caveat of being a final, so you can't really judge them on a one-off 90 minutes plus extra time. But I think Scotty Parker's a realist. I think he'll know where the deficiencies lie, and there's quite a few of them. There were some exceptions. I thought Tom Kearney played really well. He controlled the game. He plays at his own tempo. He could do a little bit more. He could pass the ball forward a lot quicker, but the game comes easy to him and he keeps possession. At the top end of the pitch, and someone like Mitrovic, if they keep him away from red cards and yellow cards, he should be fine. But I think for Scotty Parker, he needs to go into that transfer market quickly, because he hasn't got a lot of time, and have a semi-rebuild. I don't think it's a 6 and 7 man job, but 2 or 3 quality signings might be enough. But they will struggle if they don't bring anyone in.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.